You've probably heard it before. Praying lying down is lazy. Some even say it's disrespectful to God. But what if the Bible tells a completely different story? In fact, one of the most dramatic answered prayers in Scripture happened while a man was flat on his back, too weak to stand, too sick to move, and God not only heard him, he reversed a death sentence on the spot. Here's the liberating truth. God isn't focused on how you position your body. He is focused on the posture of your heart. Religious traditions might demand specific stances, kneeling, standing, hands folded, but Scripture reveals a God who meets people exactly where they are, in weakness, in grief, in exhaustion. Take King Hezekiah. In 2 Kings 20, the prophet Isaiah walks into his room with grim news. Set your house in order. You going to die. No recovery. No miracle in sight. What does Hezekiah do? He doesn't summon strength to kneel. He doesn't even get out of bed. He simply turns his face to the wall and prays. And before Isaiah has even left the palace courtyard, God stops him cold and says, "Go back. Tell Hezekiah I've heard his prayer. I'm giving him 15 more years." That's not just an answer. That's divine urgency. And it came from a man lying helplessly in bed. Then there's Jacob, the same man who once wrestled with God and wouldn't let go. Near the end of his life, Genesis 47 tells us he worshipped while leaning heavily on his staff, too frail to stand on his own. Yet God honored his worship. Why? Because faith isn't measured by physical stamina, it's measured by surrendered trust. This is the heart of biblical prayer. It's communion, not choreography. It's honesty, not performance. Think about your own life. When are you most likely to pray lying down? When you're drained after a long shift. When illness has you bedridden. When it's 2 a.m. and anxiety won't let you sleep. Those aren't lesser moments. They're the raw, real spaces where your spirit cries out without filters. King David knew this. In Psalm 63 verse 6, he wrote, "On my bed I remember you. I think of you through the watches of the night." This man after God's own heart didn't he wait for a proper prayer setting. He communed with the Lord from his pillow in the silence of night. And Jesus? He warned against turning prayer into a show. In Matthew 6 verse 5, he rebuked the religious elite who loved praying in public, standing in synagogues or street corners just to be seen. His issue wasn't with standing, it was with pretense. Authenticity, not aesthetics, is what God seeks. Even Scripture itself invites us to reflect while lying down. Psalm 4 verse 4 says, "When you are on your beds, search your hearts and be silent." That's not permission, it's instruction. God designed rest as a sacred space for reflection and connection. Remember Hannah? In 1 Samuel 1, she's so overwhelmed with grief, she can't speak aloud. Only her lips move. The priest assumes she's drunk. But God sees her tear-soaked, voiceless plea and responds with one of Israel's greatest prophets, Samuel. The pattern is unmistakable. God consistently answers prayers born from desperation, not decorum. He doesn't require perfect posture. He responds to a surrendered heart. So what happens when you pray lying down? The same thing that happens when you pray standing, kneeling, or walking. If your heart is open and honest, God hears you. Full stop. Paul's command in 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 17, "Pray without ceasing," proves that prayer isn't confined to positions. You can't kneel 24/7. You can't stand through every moment. Without ceasing means prayer woven into the fabric of daily life, while cooking, commuting, caring for kids, or lying in bed at 3 a.m. There's actually a profound spiritual power in praying when you're weak. Physical exhaustion strips away pretense. When you're too tired to perform faith, you're finally free to just be with God. And Romans 8 verse 26 reminds us, "The Spirit helps us in our weakness, interceding for us with groans that words can't express." God doesn't need your strength. He meets you in your frailty. Now, posture can be helpful if it helps you focus. Kneeling may cultivate reverence. Standing may keep you alert. Walking may spark clarity. But these are tools, not rules. God isn't a celestial posture police checking your form before accepting your request. That's religion, not relationship. The God of the Bible heard Jonah from the belly of a fish. He heard Peter while he was sinking in the sea. He heard a dying thief whose body was nailed to a cross. He meets people in their most desperate, immobilized, unconventional places, and responds with grace. Maybe you're a night shift worker praying between naps. Maybe you're a new parent whispering prayers into your pillow after putting the baby down. Maybe chronic pain makes kneeling unbearable. Does God love your prayers less? Absolutely not. In fact, your vulnerability may be the very thing that draws his presence closer. As Paul learned in 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9, "My power is made perfect in weakness." Your physical limits don't restrict God. They create space for his strength to shine. So here's the takeaway. Religion says, pray the right way. Relationship says, just pray. Jesus didn't die so you'd memorize prayer formulas or perfect your posture. He died so you could come boldly, exhausted, confused, overwhelmed, exactly as you are. The next time you're lying in bed with worries swirling, don't hesitate. Talk to God right there. When sickness keeps you flat, pour out your heart. When you're too tired to form eloquent words, groan, and trust the Spirit to translate. God isn't auditing your position. He's listening for your pulse, the pulse of a heart reaching for him. Hezekiah prayed lying down and received 15 more years. You might pray lying down and receive peace that finally lets you sleep, or clarity for a decision, or a breakthrough you've begged for months. Don't let anyone make you feel less spiritual because of how your body rests. Whether you're standing in a sanctuary, kneeling by your bed, sitting in traffic, or lying flat on your back, if your heart is turned toward God, he is listening. Because prayer isn't about impressing heaven. It's about encountering a Father who already knows your name, your need, and your night. So go ahead. Pray lying down. Pray while folding laundry. Pray in the shower. Just pray. And if you've ever experienced God's answer in an unexpected place or position, share your story below. Your testimony might be the encouragement someone else needs to believe. God meets us right where we are.